Shalom, Ahab, Wa Baraka. First and foremost, Kol Halayama, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Rukwakadash. Double honors to all the elders, the prophets, the apostles, the teachers, the disciples, and the Akiyama Akwad that are not only in this 100% truth, but the ones that are coming into the 100% truth. And today, since we're talking about the 100% truth, then the title of this class is The False Prophets Are Important. Sounds weird, but it's true. They are also fulfilling prophecy. And think of it this way. If the false prophets don't open their mouths and tell you false prophecies, you're not going to know if they're fake. See, it's great that they don't wait for the real prophets to speak, or when the real prophets do speak, they dispute. So today's class is going to be titled The False Prophets Are Also Important. And there's a reason why I'm going to show you. Let's start off at, we're going to jump around a little bit, then I'm going to get into it. You know how I do. And if you don't, I like to jump around a little bit. I like to get my precepts out, and I like to get into it. So we're going to start at 2 Timothy chapter 3, KJV Blue Letter Lexicon. Now, Akian had to go back to North Carolina to help his grandmother. So he won't be here today, clearly. But let's get into it. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, 2 Timothy chapter 3, starting from the top. Know this also, that in the latter days, or last days, perilous times shall come. Men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. But let me just keep going. Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Traitors, headly, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yahweh. So, in these last days, we're going to run into false prophets that are, how would you say, lovers of their own self. And if you love yourself more than you love the Most High, then you're going to do the will of men. Let me keep going. Let's jump over, and you know what? Let's go to Acts. Let's go to the book of Acts real quick. I want to get this verse in Deuteronomy, but I need to go to Acts first, I think. So, we'll go to Acts, starting at verse 28. Take heed, therefore, unto yourselves, and to all the flock, over which the Holy Spirit hath made you overseers, to feed the church of Yahweh, which he has purchased with his own blood. So, we're being instructed to be careful. You've been made overseers. In other words, you've been given the power to understand these breakdowns. You have to be careful with this and teach righteousness, holiness, truth. For I know this, after my departing shall grievous wolves enter among you, not sparing the flock. So there are going to be people that come among us that are going to, you know what? I got a really good idea. Acts chapter 20, the Living Bible. Watch this. Start at 28. Now beware. Be sure that you feed the shepherd. Be sure you feed and shepherd Yahweh's flock, his church, purchased with his blood. For the Holy Spirit is holding you responsible as overseers. I know full well that after I leave, false teachers shall, like vicious wolves, will appear among you, not sparing the flock. Some of you yourselves will distort the truth in order to draw a following. What are you going to do? You're going to distort the truth in order to draw a following. Who does that sound like? How about when you take the scriptures and you turn them into a label, merchandise, a logo, a company, a business? That right there will get you put away. The Most High will do away with you with that. And he'll let you go for a certain amount of time, and then he'll cut you off at the knees. So, some of you yourselves will distort the truth in order to draw a following. Watch out. Remember, the 3 years I was with you, my constant watch care over you night and day, and my many tears for you. Now let's get a precept. Let's go back to Acts chapter 20, KJV Blue Letter Lexicon. We're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, and verse 22. I'm probably jumping the gun, but I want to get this out anyway, because the false prophets, they're among us like ravening wolves, and they're literally doing it just to build their own following. And so you got to understand something. When you start listening to these people, pay very close attention, because it says right here in Deuteronomy 18 and 22, when a prophet speaketh in the name of Yahweh, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. So, let's go to the Strong's. And you know, we all need to know what the word presumptuously means. Presumptuously.
Strong's H2007.
Zadon.
Just below that.
So, they spoke in arrogance. They spoke in pride. They spoke exhibiting disobedience to priest or judge. They spoke in false prediction. So when the false prophet speaks, he speaking presumptuously because the Most High didn't tell him to say that. There was nothing on his spirit other than he was speaking false predictions. Let's go back over to the book of Acts. Going back over to chapter 20. And we're going to go back to verse 31. Therefore watch and remember that by the space of 3 years I cease not to warn you every one night and day with tears. And now, brethren, I commend you to Yahweh and to the word of his grace, which is able to build you up and to give you an inheritance among all them which are sanctified. So this is a this verse right here is deep. It's telling you that, first of all, he's only talking to his brethren, and he's commended them to Yahweh. So let's see what commended means. Set before. So he said, brethren, first of all, it's his brothers. He set before you to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh, and to the word of his grace. But listen to this, which is able to build you up. But it's only talking about a specific people right here. Them which are sanctified. Who's sanctified? Only Israel. So, I'm just showing you right now. I just noticed that. But it says sanctified. So it's only talking to Israel right here. So once again, anybody trying to sneak their way in, you're never going to find, there's no edge for you. There's no way for you to get past these scriptures and think that you're going to be saved with the Israelites. But let's get back to these false prophets. Verse 33. I have coveted no man's silver or gold or apparel. I've never taken anybody else's money. In fact, let's go back to the Living Bible. You guys are going to like this. Acts chapter 20, Living Bible. Acts chapter 20, the Living Bible. All right. We're going to start at verse 33 where we left off. Or we'll start at 32. And now I entrust you to Yahweh in his care and to his wonderful words that are able to build your faith and give you all the inheritance of those who are set apart for himself. Those that are set apart for himself, we all know that even though there's all nations are of Adam, he still chose the Israelites. And we know that he said that all nations are less than spittle, so we know that he's only talking about us. But let's keep going. I'm going to read the rest of this because I think you guys might like it. I have never been hungry for money or fine clothing. You know that these hands of mine worked, get a job, not taking money from the people and having a Cash App, a GoFundMe, a Patreon, a PayPal, turning the doctrine into a business. What did the one Achiam say? He said called him a e-beggar or something like that. But I have never been hungry for food or fine clothing. You know that these hands of mine worked to pay my own way and even to supply the needs of those who were with me. And I was a constant example to you in the helping of the poor. For I remembered the words of Yahweh Shai, it is more blessed to give than to receive. So I just thought that was very interesting, because when you go into it, everybody's trying to get money. Everybody's trying to get a little dollar bill.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. So, it's telling you right here, though, you gotta work to get money. You don't beg people for money. You don't take an offering plate and serve it out 3 or 4 times during church, expecting people to actually give you money every time. It's just embarrassing. If you don't, and it also says right here that these hands work to pay for his own way, and even to supply, the needs of those that were around him. So not only did he take care of himself, but he took care of the people that were around him. And I'm just letting you know, none of these camps are doing that. If you try to get some of these camps, I'm not saying their names anymore. I'm tired. I'm keeping names out of my mouth. But I know of one camp that charges you to be a part of their camp. And they charge you entry fee. You got to get your precept package. You got to wear their clothes. You got to do exactly what they say. It's almost like being a Jehovah's Witness, how they removed you from everybody in society, all the way down to have a Jehovah's Witness job. So if you do anything wrong, they can ruin your entire life. But that's that control. It's more of a control and a power thing these days than what's really supposed to be produced according to Scripture. Let's move around a little bit. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. Let's do it. First Corinthians chapter 11, KJV Blue Letter Lexicon. You know, my inspiration for this whole class is this verse right here, because last week when I was teaching a class, I read right past it, and I didn't even realize how deep and important this verse is. This verse is literally where I got the title for this class. The false prophets are important too. Watch this. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. We're going to jump right down to verse 19 and get right to it. For there must be, wait, hold on. Let me get the Strongs out. Let's make sure it's the Strongs. Now, for there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you. So, first of all, let's find out what heresies are. There must be a body of men following their own tenets among you. A body of men following their own tenets among you. That they that which are approved, the real prophets. So you got the body of false prophets that believe their own doctrine that are among you, that they which are approved may be manifest. So let's see what manifest means. So the real prophets may be made manifest. So the real prophets may be made apparent, may be made known, may be made made to appear, to be plainly recognized. That's why we have false prophets. So when they mess up, just like in Deuteronomy 18 and 22, when their prophecies don't come true, then they spoke presumptuously, right? That we know that this is now a false prophet. I was going to go back to it. Let's go back to it. Let's do it. That's what I was going to do. That's why I stopped right there. Let's do it. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 18 and 22. Because you got to remember, those heresies among us, so the prophets may be made known, that they may be made apparent. But remember, presumptuously. What does presumptuously mean? A false prediction. So, when a prophet speaks in the name of Yahweh, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that thing which Yahweh hath spoken, but the prophet hath spoken. That thing, that is the thing which Yahweh hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken. It is presumptuously. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. Sorry, I killed that one too. My mouth's getting dry. So anyway, going back over to 1 Corinthians now. Now we can read it in context. So, and I want to read it again because I want to show you something else about this verse. For there must be heresies also among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you. So we go back to heresies again. And remember, it said a body of men following their own tenets. So what precept should I get for that? They go after their own vain imagination. And it's Ecclesiasticus 3:24. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment. So the funny thing is these false prophets started off in the truth. I can prove that too. Let me get that. Let's go to 1 John 2 and KJV Blue Letter Lexicon. When I find it, it'll come up. Yep, this is it right here. They went out from us, like I said, they started off in the truth, but they were not of us. As soon as they left, they started following after their own vain imagination, teaching the doctrines of men. Let's get that. They follow after their own vain imagination, teaching the doctrines of men. What chapter and verse? Matthew 15 and 9. Matthew 15 and 9. But in vain they do worship me, teaching doctrines, the commandments of men. Now, 2 Timothy chapter 2, chapter 1 John chapter 2, KJV Blue Letter Lexicon. So let's go back down to it now and we can read it in context. They went out from us, but they were not of us. So what it meant by of us is they're not teaching the truth. Somewhere in the crossfire, they fell into false doctrine. They went out from us, so they went out from the truth, but they were not of the truth. For if they had been of us, the truth, they would no doubt have continued with us. So they would have never left if they were in the truth. They wouldn't have to move on and change doctrine. But they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. There it is, made manifest. And what does the word manifest mean? It means so they may be made known. It all works together. This book's coming together. This book is just coming right together, showing all the false prophets. And what did I tell you? I told you, and I'm going to tell you every time. My prophecy, I prophesied this year, and the prophecy I had was that you false camps and all the people with you that believe your false doctrine are going to see your destruction coming. And every time you open your mouth this year, you're getting destroyed. Every single time. There ain't nothing you guys can say that's true unless you come back to the truth. But it says right here, but they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not of us at all. Remember, you're on your own thing. You guys know more than the elders. But let's keep going. But ye have an unction from the Holy One, that ye know all things. I have not written unto you because ye know not the truth, but because ye know it, and that no lie is of the truth. So if you're not telling the truth, if you're not prophesying truth, you're lying, and you're a liar. The Most High is no respect of persons. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Waharucha Kadash has no respect of persons. Let's make sure you know who I'm talking about. Deuteronomy, we're jumping around again. Chapter 13, we're going to start at verse 3. So, we're talking about the false prophet still. If he's not of us and he's proven and it's been made known, and I've showed you in two separate places that these false prophets are here for a purpose. They're important. So when they lie to you, what do? You find out later on that they were lying and we were telling the truth. So what do? You go. Let's ask the scriptures. This is Deuteronomy chapter 13, and we're going to start at verse 3. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet. So if it's a false prophet and you know it, why would you listen to him? Or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahweh proveth you to know whether ye love Yahweh, your God, with all your heart and with all your soul. Ye shall walk after Yahweh your God, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice. Ye shall serve him, and cleave unto him. So, it says, don't listen to the false prophets. But clearly, we should be cleaving unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Let's keep going. Let's go to the book of Luke. Let's go over to chapter 17 and start from the top. Then said he unto the disciples, It is impossible, but that offenses will come. But woe unto him through whom they come. In other words, it's impossible for these offenses not to come forth because they're prophesied in the Bible. But he's saying the people that are bringing forth the offenses, so like I told you earlier, if you're not telling the truth, you're a liar. So if you're one of the liars, woe unto you that lie came from. Because when that lie gets cleared up, you got to remember, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, is going to be the one that repays you. How do I know? Let's find out. Revelation, and this one's just my favorite. There's way more places than this that it says it, but since this is the last page of the last chapter of the Bible, I like to use this one. Revelation 22:12. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according to his work shall be. So you know right away. He's coming to pay. And let's go back to Luke. And he said unto the disciples, it is impossible, but that offenses will come. But woe unto him through whom they come. So total and utter destruction to the false prophet that's out lying to the children of Israel. And I already showed you in Deuteronomy, he's coming quickly and his reward is with him. You will be repaid. And the best thing to do is just come clean and tell the truth. If you can't do that, then you weren't meant to be in the truth. 2 Peter chapter 2. And we're going to start from the top. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies. There's heresies again. You know what? We got to bring this out. False prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily, secretly shall bring in damnable heresies. Let's remember what that word means. I like the definition of this word. Damnable heresies, a body of men following their own tenets. So who shall bring damnable heresies shall bring a body of men bringing forth their own tenets, even denying Yahweh that brought them, and bringing upon themselves swift destruction. Taking you right back to Deuteronomy 22 and 12. I come quickly, and my reward is with me to repay them according to their works shall be. Let's go to 1 Timothy. Chapter 4. We're gonna start from the top again. Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. So once again, we're in the latter times. We're in the final days. You're receiving the doctrines of devils every time you get a feel-good message from your church telling you can do anything you want. Oh, if you keep the laws, you can't go in heaven and this and that. They misinform you on purpose. They have to. They have a 501c3. They're not allowed to tell us the truth. If we knew the truth, we would all come back to the laws. But they told you in church, they tell you everywhere you can't keep the laws. But only those, I'm going to say it like this, only those that are sincere, that if you fear the Most High, it'll be a good thing for you. It'll be a good feeling that you keep the truth, that you follow the instructions, that you keep His commandments to the best of your ability according to your knowledge. There are just some things we can't do at this time, but in the kingdom, all the laws are back. There won't be no more grace period. You got to remember, a grace period is like when you have a bill that you have to pay, you've got a certain amount of time to pay the bill to be in the clear. It doesn't mean you have a certain amount of time to screw everything over and then at the last second be saved. I don't know where people get that from. You have a certain amount of time to get your mind right, and then He's going to show up no matter what. Let me go over to the book of 2 Corinthians. We're going to get chapter 13. And we're going to start at verse 5. Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith, prove your own self. Ye know not your own selves, how that Yahushua Hamashiach is in you, except you be reprobates. Examine yourselves. So look at yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself, am I keeping the laws? Am I doing all that I can? Am I being the best me that I can for Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai? Am I doing that? Know ye not your own self? You know what you're doing. You don't even have to look. You know whether you're keeping the laws or not. You know whether you're keeping the laws or not. But how do you know whether you're being, examine yourselves whether you be in the faith? Are you studying? Are you teaching your family? Are you coming into the truth righteously? Because you got to remember, if it's not the truth, it's a lie. There's no in between. It can't almost be true. It has to either be a true or a lie. Let's go to reprobates. Tis. Reprobate. Hold on. Not standing the test. Not approved. So now I'm going to read that verse again, and you're going to remember, it's not standing the test. It's not approved. That which does not prove itself such as it ought. Unfit. Unapproved. Reprobate. So, examine yourself whether you be in the faith. Prove your own self. How do you prove your own selves? By studying. Study to show thyself approved. What chapter and verse?
According to Frontiersman, the Bible says, study to show thy...
2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 15. Study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Second Corinthians chapter 13, KJV blue letter. All right, so now we know that when it says examine yourself, it's saying study to show yourself approved. Examine yourself whether you be in a prove your own self. Study to show yourself approved. Examine yourself that you be in the faith. Study to show. I mean, come on, you guys gotta be able to get this. Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own self. How? By studying. Know ye not your own selves that how that Yahushai Hamashiach is in you, except you be reprobates. So unless you be unapproved, pretty much a reject, then, and this is only talking about Israel right here, unless you be reprobates. So think about that. He's in you unless you're rejected. So there's no way to get in this truth if you've been rejected. Let me bring out just couple more verses and then I'm going to shut it down. Let's go to the book of James. Chapter 1. We're going to start at verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask Yahweh that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So it's saying, if you lack wisdom, if you don't have any understanding, pray for it. And I showed you that that you study to show yourself approved. So while you're praying, you got to be out studying too. And what does he say? He gives it to you free. Now we've got another problem here, because you know they be charging for the word. And upbraideth not. Don't separate yourself from the truth like all these false prophets are trying to get you to do. In fact, let's get a precept real quick, because it said Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai giveth to all men liberally, free. So let's go to Matthew chapter 10, and I think it's verse 8. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give. So if they're trying to make a business out of these scriptures, they're going to be taken out of the truth and become reprobate and be rejected, because the Yahweh Shai is not in them. But I had to show you that. And there, you start charging for this word. When you started, you weren't charging for the word. But then you had to start camp, you had to do this, that. You know what? All that stuff's a lie. It's free for me to turn on my camera and record a video. So all of the other stuff's a lie. We don't take money for the word around here. We don't take money for the word. Now, back to the book of James. Chapter 1. Back to verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Waharapakadash, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given, and it shall be given him. So you know that he gave us this doctrine, and he gave it to us for free. He's saying if you don't depart from it, he's going to give you the full doctrine. But you depart from it and he'll take it back. And all of a sudden you'll be all bugged out, being a bugaboo, just talking craziness and folly. So, let me keep reading. But let him ask in faith, not wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the winds and tossed. I'd break it down, but it's going to break itself down in a minute. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. So this guy that's all over the place, oh yeah, look, Alazar, I'm gonna say your name. You said that Farrakhan was the #1 black person in our culture. That's what you did. And then all the people that taught you, that's so funny because you didn't even say anything about Tahar, who actually taught you, went and had a unity camp with a bunch of people that don't even believe the same thing as you. Man, you got so many offenses against you, but you wavering. You're over here, you're over there, and you're a really smart guy too. You know the truth. That's what messes with my head. Why you would make a label and merchandise out of the scripture? It doesn't make sense, other than you're from us but not of us, and you went out and you literally turned everything into Lucre. You know what? Filthy Lucre. You know what? I'm going to teach. And they teach doctrines of devils for a filthy lucre's sake. And they teach for filthy lucre's sake. Here it is. Titus chapter 1. Verse 11. Let's go 10. Let's start at Titus chapter 1, verse 10. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. They're from us, but not of us. See that? And the circumcision is saying our own people, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. So you're literally going after a bag instead of trying to teach the children of Israel that that's not what we're here for. We don't care about money. We care about going back to the kingdom and being back in righteousness, so we don't have to live in this pitiful place that people call like great. This is like the worst place I've ever been in my life, in all of my lives, I guess, because we're sent back, right? But let me go back over to Book of James. Book of James, chapter 1, KJV, Blue Letter Lexicon. Let's go back into it. So, we know, let him ask in faith with nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like the waves of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let no man think that he shall receive anything of Yahweh. So everything you're getting, it ain't from the Most High. It's because you went out and got yourself a bag, and you made a deal with the devil. That's all there is to it. But let me keep going. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So everything about you is botched. There's mistakes throughout. All you false prophets are botched. You have mistakes throughout your doctrine. You're unstable in all your ways. You know what? That's it on the false prophets. If you don't know by now, all these people bringing out false MOTB doctrines, bringing out 5-hour classes to break down 3 verses, that sounds like Christianity 101. It's very simple. If you're gonna go into the Strongs, you just push the Strongs button, see all of the numbers pop up. You push the number and it'll tell you the meaning of the word. Why would you go around letting somebody else lie to you when you can literally, the knowledge has been greatly increased. You can look this stuff up for yourself. So, with that being said, I'm going to change the tone a little bit. I want to read something else to you before I let you go. Sirach, chapter 2, KJV. I want to read this to you guys. This is the book of Sirach. This is chapter 2 in the book of Sirach. So now we know about false prophets. I just want to remind you something that the Most High was telling us, because in the book of James, it told us that, well, let's go back to the book of James. Oh. Book of James, chapter 1, KJV.
According to To Be Like Christ.
I want to go back to the book of James, and I'm going to start at verse 2. And then I'm going to go over to the book of Sirach. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall in diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Now let's go over to the book of Sirach, because this is what I wanted to show you. Book of Sirach, KJV, blue letter lexicon. Book of Sirach, KJV. Book of Sirach, chapter 2, KJV. All right, now we're going to go into Ecclesiasticus chapter 2. Because we went through all these false prophets, and I just showed you in the book of James, be joyful that the Most High is dealing with you and he's trying your spirit, is pretty much what it was telling you. So, because he's working your patience. Now watch this. This is the book of Sirach, starting from the top. My son, if thou come to serve Yahweh, prepare thy soul for temptation. Why? Because when the word comes out, Satan cometh immediately to take away the word that was sown in your heart. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. So don't be quick to try and solve the problem when you have problems. When you have times of trouble, it's saying don't be hasty. Don't be so quick to try and do something. Let the Most High take care of it. Constantly endure. Set thy heart aright. To set your heart aright is come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. Constantly endure is to be patient in times of trouble. That's why it says haste and not. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest increase at thy last end. That thou mayest be increased at thy last end. So when you hear the truth, stay with the truth. Don't, because somebody's trying to tell you a feel-good message. This isn't like that. This book doesn't talk about that. This book talks about persecution of our people, that we were treated a certain way for not following instruction. We were put here for a reason. But now the veil's being lifted, and we see right now that everything at these latter times is really just a test to sift the wicked from the righteous. We're literally being separated all the way down to the camps. All the way down to these camps, we're being separated from wickedness to righteousness. And you know what? Let me keep going. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. Yeah. And be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. And so whatever is brought upon you, take cheerfully. What is cheerfully? Have faith. You know that the Most High is testing you. I just told you. It's a test. And be patient. So what? Hasten not, like it said in verse 2. That thou art changed when you're changed to a low estate. So when something bad happens, don't be so quick to decide, oh, I got this, I got this. What's the first thing you should be doing? Let's get down to what we're actually supposed to do. Hasten not in time of trouble. Whatever's brought upon you, take cheerfully. What should you do? What do? We pray in righteousness and sincerity. We pray. It's that simple. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So, if you're in an uncomfortable position, maybe the Most High is putting you through a specific test. Gold's tried in the fire. So, when the goldsmith is finished refining or trying the gold in the fire, the way he knows that the gold is finished being refined is he can see his reflection in it. So when the Most High can see the reflection of your works being the reflection of him, then you're being tried. Now you're being turned into an acceptable man in what we would consider gold. Pure. Gold is a purity. You're being pure righteousness. Let me keep going. I'm only going to go to verse 10. You can read the rest of this chapter for yourself. But, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. And how do you believe in the Most High? Well, if you believe in GPS, you follow the instructions of GPS. And that way GPS gets you from point A to point B. But you got to follow the instructions carefully, step by step. Well, that's how you believe in the Most High. By following his instructions, that's how gold is refined. So you can prove that you're doing what you're supposed to by doing it. Not saying, the Lord knows my spirit. It's wicked if that's all you're doing. It's telling people he knows your spirit. Believe in him and he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him. Ye that fear Yahweh, wait for his mercy. Go not aside, lest ye fall. Ye that fear Yahweh, believe in him, and your reward shall not fail. If you're doing what the Most High wants you to, he's going to protect you. He's going to put a protection around you. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good and everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahweh and was confounded? Did ever trust in Yahweh and was cast away? Are you telling me that there's somebody that was following these laws correctly and they were just thrown out? It's impossible. Shalom, Akim. Shalom. What are you doing? Oh, okay. Shalom.
Reverse it to me.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, just keep it right there where it's at. Do you have a question?
Do you have a cigarette for sale?
I don't smoke.
Do you have any hand sanitizer?
I don't use hand sanitizer. Ye that fear the Lord, believe in him, and your reward shall not fail. Like I said, the Most High will always protect you. He'll put his wing of protection around you. He'll put stumbling blocks in front of the people that come against you. He's not he's not going to just, like I said, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, was cast away? No. Because if you trust in the Lord, that's like trusting in GPS. Like I told you, you trust in GPS, you're following the instructions. So if you trust in the Lord, you're not listening to the pastor at the church telling you everything's done away with. You're going to follow the instructions that were written in the book. That's how it goes. Most people don't like that. They don't want to hear it. They want to know that they can go out and do whatever they want. But that isn't true. And you know what? I'm going to read this again. And then we're gonna close out. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahweh and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear, in his laws? How do you fear the Lord? By keeping his laws, and was forsaken, or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? So, just saying, if you're calling upon him, you're not calling on Jesus, you're not calling on God, you're calling on Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And you're doing what you're supposed to in righteousness and sincerity, or you would not even want to say that name. You would want to call on God and Jesus. And just go ahead and justify that. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in Yahweh was confounded or abide in his fear? Watch this. The fear of the Lord is keeping his commandments. What chapter and verse? There it is.
According to Bible, King James Version, Code, 12 verses 13 to 14. 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments. For
I
this
guess
is
we
the
can
whole-
use that one. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. It's not the one I wanted, but it still says the same thing. Let us hear the whole conclusion of the matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments. For this is man's all. For this is the whole duty of man. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments. The fear of the Lord is keeping his commandments. What chapter and verse?
According to Bible,
No,
King
it's
James
not.
Version,
It's not.
Code, 12 verses 13 to 14.
I'm looking
13.
for...
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments.
I want a specific verse. All right. I'm just gonna. Deuteronomy 6:24. So, and let's go back to the KJV though. Deuteronomy 6:24, KJV.
According to BibleRib.com, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 24, ESV,
And the Lord commanded us to do all these statutes to fear the Lord our God, for our God always, that he might preserve us alive as it is at this day. Whew, sorry about that, guys. It took me a while to get that out, but it's still not the one I wanted. So I think you get the fear of the Lord is keeping his commandments. To love the Lord is keeping his commandments. To setting thy heart aright is keeping his commandments. But being sealed is the only way you're going to be able to do it in righteousness. Anybody can go through the motions. That's why they tell you can't keep the commandments. No, you can't keep the commandments because you're not sealed. So I'm going to get Romans chapter 8, KJV, Blue Letter Lexicon. You have to be sealed to even let it. And it says that only the children that he chose are going to be able to do these works. And you know, there's people that will go through the motions, but you're not actually doing the works because you're not sealed in your heart, which is your mind, which is on your frontlets, which is in your mind. So you're not sealed. And you're not doing the works because it'd be impossible for you to have the right mind frame, the right mindset. So you got to understand, it's not just going through physical motions, it's also a mindset when you're doing it. And you can't just, oh, I'm in that. No, you can't be that. It's only given to certain people. And you know what? Let's go to Romans 8:5. For they that are after the flesh do mind things of the flesh. It just won't work. You can't make it. But they that are after the Spirit, things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death. And believe me, if you're not sealed, you're going to find out in the latter end that you are carnally minded. But to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Okay? And I think that that's self-explanatory. I mean, I could go on and on, but going back into the false prophets, for they're after the flesh. They're after worldly things. They're after lucre. They're after a new car, a big house, nice shoes, great clothes. But Paul told you, man, I had nice clothes and everything I got was from the work of my hands, from work, actual physical labor, and I made enough to help the people around me. Now, I took from the people around me and got myself rich and then looked at them and said they need to work harder. So, that being said, one more. Revelation 22 and verse 14. Revelation 22 and 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life and enter in through the gates into the city. Like I said, only the ones that are sealed are going to be able to do that. And I just want to say, once again, double honors to all the real prophets, the real elders, the real apostles and disciples, teachers, the Akiyamwa Akwa, that are in the sincere 100% truth. Also, Paul Halayama, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ruchakadash. And with that being said, if you have eyes to see, you got ears to hear, and you're sealed in this truth, I hope you're able to get something out of this lesson.